I wasn't the guy, growing up, I wasn't the guy that liked school. I didn't value school, and because I couldn't imagine myself using calculus in real life, which is a silly way to think, right? And then I didn't value jobs that I worked at. I always looked at every job I worked at as, a thing that I was doing right now until I really got a career one day, right? And then I didn't value relationships. I didn't spend time or effort in a relationship with a person unless I can directly see how he can bring value to me, right? And it was just stupid because that's not how it works. No, that's not how any of that works, right? And so I paid for a lot of that, that over time I paid for a lot of that. I found myself in 2006, I was $30,000 in personal debt. I had lost my job. I had got evicted from my house. I had 1 week to stay in my house, lost my phone, car repoed, and I found out that I was about to become a single dad with a woman that frankly wanted nothing to do with me. Because, when you take the stats I just gave you and put it on the dating website, they're not lining up to be the next Mrs. Arce.
Swipe whatever way is not good.
Swipe, yeah. Right? So I had a lot of, my stats were bad. My stats were bad. And so, I was in a really, really bad spot. And then I remember when it all hit me, because this wasn't like a gradual destruction. Most of what I just said all happened in a 12 or 14-day period. Oof. And so I remember I was sitting in my house that I had a week left in, right? And then all of a sudden I hear, all the lights and the TV went off, right? So electric went out. And, I obviously I would have called the electric company to complain, but my phone was off because I didn't pay that. So that turned off a few days before. And even if I could call, what was I gonna say? I haven't paid my electric bill in 3 months. So I knew it was coming eventually. So then anyway, my cousin, who was my best friend, is my best friend, at the time was living with me. And I remember I feel so bad from now looking back, but I gave him the biggest pity party, how life isn't fair and, how could this happen and all this stuff, right? And it can't get any worse. Life tip I learned, never say it can't get any worse. Life's a bitch and really likes to take a challenge. So
right.
It got worse that night at 1 o'clock in the morning. Actually, that's nice. It was a pound, man. It wasn't a nice pound. It was a nice knock. It was a pound. So I go downstairs and I open the door to see what the heck's going on the other side. And there's this giant guy. You ever see Happy Gilmore, the guy with the nail in his head?
Yeah.
He's like that guy. Just huge in a work shirt. And behind him is my car on a rack being taken. Now, I've been hiding my car in the garage, but because I haven't paid my electric bill and the cord was broken for years, I was like, all right, I was leaving the driveway today. They got me. So they took my car that night. So now I turned to my cousin who's probably waiting for the next pity party. And I just said, I got to go for a walk. And I did. I went for a walk, and it was like a movie, man. Like a minute into the walk, it didn't even start to drizzle. It just rained. like life is can't get any what?
Yeah.
How about that? And so I remember I just kind of I walked in it because honestly it felt good to be I was just so miserable. I was like, I'm going to soak in this, all I need is Celine Dion following me singing.
My actual, that's my dream. So I don't know, how'd you get into my dreams? But.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I'm walking, and I never walked in this direction before while I was walking. I went left. I normally go right. Everything's right when you leave my house. And I ended up coming across a church that I didn't even know existed. And I wasn't a religious guy, not a religious guy. But I went up to this thing for shelter mainly because it was pouring and thundering. And then I had a Rocky Balboa moment. Everybody watch Rocky?
I hope so.
What did Rocky do when he was totally scared? What was the first thing he did at night? He went to church, right? All hours of the night, Rocky could just walk in and go to church. So that's my experience of church. I'm thinking you can do this. And Home Alone, right? You can just walk in at night. And so I go to pull on the door with a wimpy pull because I'm miserable.
Yeah. And
it didn't open, so I'm looking, it's this big church door, so I'm like, oh, it's heavy. So I yank on this thing. Sirens, lights. I set the alarm off. It's 1:30 in the morning. So now, by the way, for those of you ever thinking about it, never rob a church. Cops showed up in less than 30 seconds. Because I remember I pulled it, and I was just so done, I didn't even move. I just went, whatever. And then, boo, Like, I'm like, oh my God. So I explained to the cops what had happened and, you know, what I'm going through. And he actually felt back with me. He was cool. He's like, look, dude, just, you can sit on the steps, relax, do what you got to do. Just don't go inside. I'm like, all right. And that was it, man. From that, at that moment, I looked up at the sky and I admitted everything. I'm like, it's my fault. I'm here because of me. My life is what it is because of me. I'm broke because of me. I've got debt because of me. I got no friends because of me. I got no job because of me. It's my fault, and that's it. It's over. It's done. I'm done being this tired, broke kid, and I'm tired not being incredible. And you know, I said, tomorrow's day one. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. And I remember asking, I said, whoever you are out there, give me a sign. Because I don't even know what to look for. I don't even know how to start this process of being good. So give me a sign, and I need help. And so I went home, I went to sleep next morning, woke up early, and I went for a run to the gym that I used to work at. It was about a 35-minute run to see if I could get my job back. I had no car. And I walk into the gym, and I'm waiting in the lobby to speak to somebody, see if I can get my job back. You get a referral to a different location. And in the lobby, this is crazy, guys. This is nuts. This woman walks in. And I've never met her before. So she goes, Mike. And so I'm, you know, like, have you guys been in that spot where you're like, how do I know you? 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 Because you don't want to be embarrassed. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, hey, are you going to be here for a few minutes? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, okay, hang on, I'll be right back. She walked out, came back in 2 minutes later with a box and said, this is for you. And I said, you know, something like, I think you got the wrong guy or whatever. And she's like, no, you asked for this. I know you're going through a lot right now. Take this. And I'm getting goosebumps now, man. And so I opened up the book, and it's the box, and there's this book in it, and it's Purpose-Driven Life. And again, not religious. And you know, she just said it's read a chapter a day. Don't skip a chapter. Don't read ahead. And you know, I hope this helps. And she left, never saw her again. I wouldn't, if she could be in this room, I wouldn't recognize her. It was that quick. So I did. I read a chapter that night. First chapter was speaking to me. Second chapter made a lot more sense. Third chapter, I knew what I need to do. I don't think I ever even finished chapter 4. I knew what I had to do. And then from that day on, I have not had a bad day. I've had some rough moments like everybody's had. I've never had a bad day. Every day has been good. I ended up getting a great relationship with my son's mother. I learned how to play the guitar. I learned how to do stupid stuff like solve the Rubik's Cube. I met my wife. We had 3 kids with her. Started this business. We get to travel, and we started this amazing company. I got amazing employees, and everything just works all the time.
Pretty
and
good.
It all started with making a choice, right? That when I talked up, I made a choice to myself, and to whoever was listening, I made a choice, and that's what getting shit done is. That's what GSD is. That was the beginning of GSD. GSD is get this shit done. Like, stop talking about it, stop thinking about it, stop wishing for it, stop wondering why it's not you. Just make it happen. It may take a long time. For me, it took a long time. It took 8 years for anything to actually, like, for you to even want to know who I am, right? And, but it was worth it, and it's always been worth it to do stuff.
I want to give you a round of applause for being an 8-year overnight success, because I think that is an incredible story. Guys, round of applause. I actually did not know that story.
I haven't told. That's like fresh for you. For everyone.
That's really cool, because honestly, I think that that's a very empathetic story. Can anybody relate to some aspects of that story? I feel like there is a lot of rock bottom there that maybe some of us can't do, but I think that I personally can. I really appreciate you sharing that story.